What's up, everybody? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well here on this Friday, and we're starting a new position today. Not going to have a ton of stuff to look at here, but we are going to take a couple of days to get through it. We have another show with the Hawk's Nest in a few hours, so I'm going to let that be the main content for the day. By the way, the last few shows we've done haven't driven a lot of interest, and I can understand why. Like, this stuff is only for the people who are really deep into draft stuff. I get it. Today's show is going to be really good, though. I think it's going to be the offensive line. So if you want to know about the offensive line prospects in this draft the Seahawks might want to target, then definitely tune into that. It's going to start about noon, and we're going to go as long as it takes to talk about the offensive line prospects this year. So check it out. That's going to be a position that I think most Seahawks fans are pretty well locked into. All right. Speaking of the offensive line, we're going to start looking at the fifth and final offensive line position in the draft. Although, again, I want to stress, just because a player is listed as a right tackle doesn't mean that's what they'll do in the NFL. That goes for any offensive lineman at any position. It's really hard to know where guys end up landing in the NFL. So, we're doing right tackle, like I said, and it's only going to be like 4 videos. We've got really about 10 guys, I think. I think it's right around 10 to 12 guys. But there is some interesting stuff happening here, and this might be a rare draft where the number one offensive lineman is actually a right tackle. There is a guy, and we're looking at his name right now on my screen, that I think has a very good chance at this point of going ahead of any other offensive lineman, and he played right tackle in college. Now, maybe he'll end up playing left tackle in the pros. He could still slide into guard as well, so there's some flexibility here, but it's a unique situation. Now, things get shallow pretty quickly, but the top is pretty lucrative. All right, so just talking about right tackle in isolation, though, ignoring the fact that any one of these guys could easily end up sliding inside. Abe Lucas is in the last year of his deal right now, and if he doesn't play well this year, if we don't get a relatively clean year from him, hard to believe we're going to keep him. Hard to believe we're going to be able to trust him even if we do keep him. So it's not the worst idea in the world to say, hey, what are we doing for the future? Maybe it's Mike Gerald, but maybe Mike Gerald's a left tackle if he's anything. Maybe it's, I mean, you got Josh Jones, but there's no way Josh Jones is like your future right tackle post Abe Lucas anyway. So this is not a bad place to look. And quite frequently, you can do a thing where you have a right tackle and you play him at left guard for a year or two, and then you bump him out to right tackle if and when you need him there. That happens reasonably frequently, I think. So let's take a look here. Armand Membou. Armand Membou of Missouri. He was one of the big winners of the Combine this year, 21 years old when the season starts. He's very large. He's only 6'4.25", which isn't very tall for a tackle, but 332 pounds, he will be one of the heaviest tackles in the league. He's got workable arm length, which is actually good. A lot of people anticipated maybe his arm length wouldn't come in that well. So 33.5 is at least workable for a tackle. It might end up making it a little bit easier for him to stay on the right side, but it is something that you can at least live with. And his athleticism scores are off the charts. He ran a 4.9 140 at 332 pounds. That's inhuman. 1.74 10-yard split. Really quick. Really quick to accelerate. 30-inch vert, which, look, we've looked at some positions where a 40-inch vert is not even stellar, but 30-inch vert for a guy who's 332 is pretty great. 9-foot broad is also very good. The guy's a freak, and I think that of all the players that made positive headway at the Combine, Membou is up there with a guy like a Manwari. Every big board has him in the top 11 except for Walter. And Walter, like, I love him. I love the work that they do over at Walter Football, but they are frequently off on their own. This might be a relic of pre-Combine data. I have to believe Walter would adjust their ranking if they were doing this post-Combine. Aggregate has him 8th overall. And I will say this. This is one of the very few guys in this draft that I think has virtually no chance of slipping to 18. There's like maybe 7 guys that I think have no real chance of being there at 18. This is one of them. I think he is that good and that clearly valuable. So over the last 2 years, he's been good, but 2024 was really his big breakout year. 90.6 grade, 0 sacks allowed, 0 hits allowed, 8 hurries allowed. That's all he let up as a pass protector. So he played great. He played awesome. And 4 penalties, also very much workable. I mean, I think Mike Gerald had 4 penalties in a game one time last year. All right. So Membou, he's an absolute physical freak, like we just talked about. Like, I don't think I need to say much more. Absolute physical freak with size and athleticism. He can cover ground and lay blocks in space. He has proven himself capable of doing zone blocking stuff. He can climb up to that next level. He's a violent finisher. He wants to absolutely bury opposing defenders when he finishes them. His latch is nice and firm. Once he gets on you and gets his mitts on you, you're going to have a heck of a time getting him off of you. He latches down really hard. Got good upper body strength, so he's able to win just on the virtue of that without even necessarily having to firmly anchor down. His pass protection slides have very good technique, very clean, great stuff going on there. His ability to move laterally with edge rushers is very good. I think it's tackle worthy for sure. His length is sufficient, like I said earlier. He might even be able to play on the left side, and left tackles are more valuable than right tackles 95% of the time. So that also injects extra value into this picture with Membou. Now, his length isn't great. 33.5 is workable, but there are definitely longer tackles out there, and this may motivate teams to keep him on the right side, and it does raise at least a slight possibility he ends up at guard. I think it's unlikely at this point, but certainly you would prefer longer arms than this. His anchor and leg drive need to be improved. I think it will. I'm not too worried about it, but his ability to anchor down is not what you would expect given how big he is. And his leg drive to clear out run lanes is coming along, but it's not there yet. And he's not a very skilled puncher. He, in terms of actually using his punches to stall out momentum, it's not as good as you would hope. Again, he's 21. These things are going to come. But right now, it could be better. So, awesome prospect, generational athletic prowess. I think that he could be good at left tackle, right tackle, or left guard. I give him a chance at all 3 spots. And whatever ends up happening, you're getting a great player here. I firmly believe that. All he needs to do is add a little bit of strength, add a little bit of technique, and I think he'll be one of the best offensive linemen in the league. So Membou is going to be one of my top guys. I think he deserves to be long gone by the time the Seahawks pick. And if he is somehow there, that is something that I'm hammering in pretty much immediately. I think it's unrealistic, so I'm not even going to call him my dream pick because I can't even dream this big, right? So I definitely think he's top 10, and I think maybe he's not top 5, but he's right around that top 5 to me. I think he has a good argument to be a top 5 guy. So that is my take on Membou. I would almost say blue chipper. I might end up saying blue chipper. I think he is more of a sure thing than Campbell or Banks. I think he is more of a sure thing than Will Johnson. I would put him up there in terms of that blue chip status with guys like almost like Abdul Carter. So yeah, I think he really is that good. And it is a rare year where a guy who is currently considered to be a right tackle is probably the best you're going to get at the position. All right, so that's the first guy, and he's going to be far and away the best. There's one more guy I want to talk about in this video, one more right tackle that is projected to go somewhere in that top 100. Okay, Cameron Williams of Texas. This is the only other right tackle, at least listed right tackle, that is currently ranked in the top 100 on the aggregate. Texas Longhorn, another Longhorn offensive lineman. He's pretty big. He's got right tackle size, 317, 6'5 3/4. Nice long arms, 34.5. Massive hands, monstrous hands. Every big board has him in the top 100. One even has him in the top 64. But it looks like he's a third-round guy. And we really only have 1 year of play with Cam Williams, and it wasn't that good. Like, you can see that he's allowing a lot of pressures on the quarterbacks, and he is a penalty magnet, the likes of which I don't know if I've ever seen before. 16 penalties. That's more than 1 penalty a game. It's not as bad as it sounds because Texas played a lot of games last year, but it's bad. And there is something going on there with that. So Cameron Williams is a guy you're taking on potential more than you are. He's immediately going to be awesome. And there are awesome things about him. He's got very powerful hands, and he's really good at stalling out rusher momentum with it. He uses his big hands very well. He's able to land a punch that just kind of stalls the edge rusher as he's trying to make his rush. Massive hands are very hard to detach. Like, if he gets his hands on you, you may as well just lay down, it feels like. He's not going to let you go. His hands are too big and too strong. He's got good form in his pass slides. He keeps balanced. He keeps measured when he's doing his pass rush slides. Lateral movement, good. Size and length is NFL caliber as well. He looks like a tackle. I don't think there's any doubt that physically he can handle it. Should have lots of room to improve as a player. He didn't play that much in college. He's only 21. Whatever you're looking at right now is nowhere near the finished product. So when you're evaluating Cameron Williams, you really have to understand that he is very much an unfinished product. He is much more an unfinished product than a guy like Membou, even though they're both the same age. So the issues with Cameron Williams are relatively obvious, I think. He's got minimal actual playing experience in college, and you are going to have to work on this. It's not like Membou, where I think Membou will be good out of the box. This guy is, I mean, look at the penalties, right? You're going to have to work that out of his system. You're going to have to really work on that. There was a game earlier last year where he had 4 penalties in one game, the Mike Gerald experience. Power rushers tend to drive him back a little bit. I think he is a little bit weak in terms of his anchor. Power rushers can get to him. And he plays a little too tall. He doesn't really use leverage, doesn't do a good job of generating push, doesn't do a good job of generating drive. Your ability to clear out run lanes is important as a right tackle. I don't think it's totally here yet. So that is something that's going to have to come if he's really going to make it at that position. But there's immense talent here for sure. I think that he's going to develop into a good right tackle with really great traits. I just think it's going to be a while. I think that you are looking at a very raw player that is maybe not ready to play right now, and there's no guarantee things pan out. I think they will. I think they should. I don't know why they wouldn't. As long as he wants to be good, he will be good. But you are talking about a player with 1 real year of experience, and it was shaky. It's not like he went out there and immediately just set the universe on fire and looked like the greatest offensive lineman in generations. No, he had problems. There were good things about him too, but he is nowhere near finished. So I'd go late 3rd round. I am a little bit cautious here, but I do think late 3rd round's about right for Cam Williams. I have concerns that I don't think everyone else has, but I would definitely put him in the top 100. I think he is a day 2 pick, and I think that there's some argument to be made the Seahawks should be intrigued here. A right tackle of the future if the Abe Lucas thing doesn't work out, and there's also some flexibility here. I don't think anybody's really looking at him as guard. That doesn't mean he can't do it for the short term. So it just kind of depends on your read on how he would handle that. Usually it's easier to play inside than outside, so not to say that the skill set is completely translatable, though, so it depends on your read. And I don't love the way this guy would play inside, admittedly, so it's a little bit shaky, but somebody's going to be happy with him. All right, so that's it for this video. Just 2 prospects. Those were the 2 guys I wanted to cover. We will do another video later today after the stream with the Hawk's Nest. That stream's probably going to take a little while, though, so maybe goes up around 3 or 3:30, maybe even 4. But yeah, tune into that stream later today. I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. And yeah, those are my top 2 right tackles and the only right tackles on my list that I think will go in the top 100. All right, go Hawks.